What's going on, guys? It's your boy Sean Black, aka DFS 5050. You can follow me on Instagram at DFS 5050. I'm actually really excited about this NBA season. I've been doing a lot of research and I've been doing my studying and really seeing exactly what really makes the NBA move, let alone the players, the minutes, things of that nature. The two main sites that I'm going to be working off of today will be DFS Army. If you haven't signed up, you should really sign up with DFS Army. They really teach you the game as to how to go about how to go about winning your matchups and your lineups and the tournaments. And they have a thing in there called the ladder system, which really helps you increase your bankroll and things of that nature. Again, I'm using them as a reference, as well as one of my other favorite tools, which is Daily Fantasy Nerd, and I use this more for statistics, as well as creating some lineups and everything like that. With no further ado, there are some players that I have in mind that I've been thinking about, and I just wanted to kind of go over something here. I just want to take a look at it here. Put this on the side, but needless to say, today is a 3-game slate. So a lot of people may go with who they feel might be the hotter hand. What I plan to do is really stick to defense versus position and seeing who all is in a really good spot. From there, one of the things that I want to look at also is their recency bias, basically against the team, not necessarily the individual player. Sometimes in NBA, there's two types of DVP. There's team DVP, and then there's individual DVP. Now, what you're seeing in front of you here on the nerd here would be the individual DVP, or what that position is given up to that specific player. So right off the bat, let's see here. From what I'm seeing here, the Clippers are actually the second highest implied team total on the slate outside of OKC. They have 114, and then Toronto, they have 110. So 110, you got 114, and you got 112 here. So those are technically the 3 teams that I'm going to be targeting tonight in my lineups. Not to dismiss any of the other teams that are out tonight, because they do have some value plays in there that I definitely want to utilize. But for the sake of this video, I want to show you guys some of the plays that I'm thinking about as I'm coming close to lock right now. Right off the bat, the 2 players that I want to put out there for everybody is Blake Griffin and Lou Williams. And the thing with Lou Williams is a pure scorer. His peripheral stats are, they're okay, but he's really known for his scoring. And this guy can put up numbers on you on a drop of a dime. And actually, the one peripheral stat that's really good with Lou is his assist. He has really good assist ratio there, and I do believe that he's good. Now that he's getting a starting role and not coming off the bench for a team, I feel like he's going to have more. What's the word I'm looking for? He's going to have more opportunities to score. And then with this being not only a highly implied team total, but the spread is only 6.5. So that means the team, the Lakers are projected to lose by 6.5 points. Anything over 10 is considered a blowout, and you're expecting that certain teams are going to rest their players, especially if they're blowing out a team, right? So essentially, the team that I want to focus on the most tonight, or at least the majority share that I would like to have, would be the Clippers. Now, essentially, I'm not really worried too much about ownership, because ownership basically dictates how far up and down you move up in the grand prize pool ladders, or GPP ladders. And essentially, I'm not necessarily too concerned about that, considering that it's a 3-game slate. And usually, like my man Chapadong at DFS Army will say, play the chalk, you know. So right now, Blake Griffin is definitely the chalk play. I definitely want to have him in there. You know, of course, when we're talking about OKC, we're talking about Russell Westbrook, and essentially he's a no-brainer to plug in. However, I don't know. I feel like if they're going to blow out this team, I would want to put my value elsewhere where I can still maximize my potential to score very highly in the GPP rankings. And you got to think, guys, Russell Westbrook is going to be highly owned, especially for those who are more experienced in lineup construction. They're going to find a way to fit him in there and fit other players from these other neighboring teams. Okay. So with that being said, right now, so far, what we have is Lou Williams. We have Blake Griffin. Another guy that stood out to me that I really liked here. Let's see here. Let's move this down some. Let's see. There's 3 centers that I want to go with tonight. It would be DeAndre Jordan, it would be Enes Kanter, and Steven Adams. So depending on your tolerance and how much exposure you want to, how much exposure you would like to have to different players, you know, I essentially would, you know, pick between those 3 guys. For the sake of the construction, though, I think I want to go with a, I don't want to say revenge game narrative, but I do want to go with a narrative that, hey, Enes Kanter is playing against his old team. Even though Steven Adams is a good defender, he's not as athletic and what's the word? Fundamentally sound when it comes to defending, you know, athletic and fundamentally sound players like Enes Kanter. Okay, so that was the point that I was trying to get to with that. Another correlate. The thing is, I'm trying to find a correlation play between these guys, and another person that I was thinking about plugging in here is going to be Tim Hardaway Jr. In the preseason, he was doing very well. Right now, Andre Robertson, he's a good defender, but Tim Hardaway is going to get a lot of minutes. I do believe strongly that he's going to get a lot of minutes. With him, the thing about Tim is that he's been averaging at least 30 fantasy points or more per game during the preseason. And whenever he had an allotment of minutes, he always seemed to produce. Over the offseason, he's been working a lot on his game, especially in the 3-pointer. Tim Hardaway can defend some, and you know, guys, remember that with Fanduel now they changed it where a steal and a block is going to be 3 points as opposed to before it was 2 points. So you definitely want to focus on players that are able to defend and are able to get you those peripheral stats that will actually push you above, you know, above the ladder, really. You know what I'm saying? Push you above the ladder. So, and I'm freestyling this as I go, guys. So I'm thinking to myself, now that I've said that verbally, and this really the main reason why I'm doing this is because I want to reprocess how I'm constructing my lineups. And again, I'm really pushing for those peripheral stats, you know, rebounds, blocks, steals, things of that nature. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go with DeAndre Jordan. Again, I told y'all I was going to be focusing on peripheral stats here. Another player that I want to use tonight in the point guard department is Milos Teodosic. He's 5,300. In the preseason, this guy was an assist monster. I mean, and he's, you know, did a lot of interesting trick shots and all stuff like that. But the most important thing, he's a very sound point guard. Personally, if I was to do 2 or more lineups, I will go one lineup with Teodosic and then the other one with Patrick Beverly. Beverly over in the offseason, from some of the film that I've been watching, let alone preseason, you know, he's been working on his 3-point game a lot more, and he's being asked to be more productive in the offensive end, as opposed to when he was in Houston. He was more of a defensive type player, while James Harden was running the offense, with him being the point guard / shooting guard for the team. So in this position, he's basically playing the role of point guard, but with the option to shoot at will. So I wouldn't sleep on him if I was you guys. If you're definitely out to fit in Russell Westbrook, these two guys are definitely going to be the guys that you will want to have as your salary savers. Okay. Anybody else from that point down is not really worth mentioning. If you really want to go super punt, you could easily go with Ramon Sessions. That's if you feel like you just need that space. Now, the one thing I will say is this. If we were to do a lineup with Russell Westbrook, I will correlate him with Ramon Sessions. And the reason being is because as much as Russell Westbrook produces in all different stats between, you know, points, assists, and rebounds, he's not the defender that everyone gives him credit for. And I feel strongly that if he was to throw in Ramon Sessions in there, he'll definitely be able to have some room to perform. And whether or not his minutes are limited or not, I think he still will be able to put up a good score. I don't think that a lot of people will be on him. But again, for me personally, I am going off of I'm going to stack. The Clippers is basically the team that I'm stacking, and I'm building around that. Okay. So let me pull up my file here. Let's see. Okay. So the next two guys that I want to focus on is in this small forward department. The three guys that you can pick from when you're building your lineups will be Paul George, Danilo Gallinari, and Doug McDermott. Now, people say Doug McDermott. Yeah, he's with a new team. He's getting a starting role. He's 4,600, right? So he's going to basically afford me the ability to afford Paul George or Gallinari. Now, of course, y'all know that with Fanduel, you can only stack 4 players from one team. So I will have to remove one of these guys if I wanted to make that happen. Now, what I'm going to do as a correlation play is, well, actually, it's going to be in the power forward position. But for here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to plug in Doug McDermott, and I'm going to plug in Paul George. And, you know, New York is going to really be depending a lot on these guys. Oh, I did say Tim Hardaway Jr., didn't I? Hold on. Sorry about that, guys. Plug him in there. So, you know, between these two guys, I feel like they're going to get a lot of minutes. They're going to get a lot of burn. They're going to have definitely opportunity to score. Of course, Paul George is a great defender, but I'm pretty sure that they're going to have him guard someone else. Who knows? I mean, really, New York, their team is not all that, but I'm using these guys more or less for salary relief, and I'm using them specifically, you know, just to be able to fit in other important players. Now, in the power forward position, a guy that I like a lot, and a guy that I've been kind of studying and watching that I feel is going to get a lot of burn is going to be Kyle Kuzma. He's one of those type of players that can get you a lot of peripheral stats outside of just scoring. Or just on scoring alone, this guy can get you about 20 to 25 fantasy points. So just imagine him getting a steal, a block, one steal, one block, and maybe 3 or 4 assists, and you got a complete game from a rookie power forward that plays like a shooting guard. So that's basically where I would go with that. So so far what we have here, we have Milos, we have Lou, we have Tim, we have Doug, we have Paul, Blake, Kyle, and DeAndre. So let's see here. Let's see, who do I have else in the point guard position? Okay, so there's some things that we can play around here. We can try playing Lonzo Ball. We don't, I saw something about him only playing up to 25 minutes. That's not going to be enough, personally, for me. I need somebody that's going to play a lot, a good allotment of minutes, or at least garbage time minutes for that matter. So essentially, let's see here. Let's go back to the nerd here. I'm going to PG. And again, one of the things that I focus on is on defense versus position. All right, so we have Beverly, Milos. Let's see. So basically, the other guy that I would like to use will be Kyle Lowry. I don't think he's going to be as owned because everybody's going to be focusing a lot more on Russell Westbrook tonight and Lonzo Ball. I can honestly see people having a Russell Westbrook, Lonzo Ball team, stacked with other people and whatnot, and going from there. Now, if I want to be a little bit more risky, I probably would do something like that. Maybe do something along the lines of a Lonzo Ball, like a Lonzo Ball, Kuzma, Lonzo Ball, Kuzma, Lopez type stack, something along those lines, especially with it being a high scoring affair tonight between the two LA teams there. But in any case, going back to the script, I'm going to be picking Kyle Lowry. I think he should be able to have a field day against Jerry Grant. And again, guys, if I was to say this correctly, I would look at this line and I would definitely plug this line in the GPP lineup. And I wouldn't necessarily be afraid of plugging it in. If I wanted to do something more of a cash, then I would go more cash safe and maybe get another point guard. Maybe instead of Milos, I would go with Patrick Beverly. I feel like he's probably might get them a lot more minutes, or just depending on the flow of the game, really. I think he's sharing the minutes with Milos, but in any case, for cash, I would say go with Kyle Lowry. And sorry, I'm looking at this news coming in here. Just make sure that I'm not missing anybody, or if I need to exclude anybody. But in any case, this is definitely a lineup that I will play tonight. Of course, the reason I'm doing this really late is because, I don't want the whole entire world to know this lineup, because then, if this lineup ends up being like a grand prize pool winning lineup, then guess what? You have a whole bunch of people that's fighting for that, right? So again, this is a lineup that I'm going to be playing tonight. Milos, Kyle, Lou, Tim, Doug, Paul, Blake, Kyle, and DeAndre Jordan. And so basically, I went with a Clippers stack. I went with a mini New York stack. Did a one-off in Toronto, and my correlation play, or my X factor, will be Kyle Kuzma for tonight. All right, guys. So just to kind of just go over a couple of things here. Let's see. Patrick Beverly last season against the Lakers. Oh, there it is. Oops. He averaged, at his salary, he averaged 23 fantasy points. I feel like he's going to get a boost in production from what he had last year with Houston, because they're going to be depending. The thing is, with the Clippers, they need scorers. They need scorers as well as people who can defend. I feel that he's going to get a full allotment of minutes, as the season progresses, and even at the start of the season. So he's definitely somebody that I definitely want to look at. But this guy has a 42.4 fantasy point upside. I mean, the guy can put up stats on the board when he gets the minutes. Anything over 30 minutes, let's see, trying to see if we can find anything over 30 minutes. But I feel like if he gets over 30 minutes, he'll be able to give you the production that you're looking for. And I mean, that's what, 6 minutes more than what he had in the last game he had of the season against the Lakers. 26.59. Well, sorry, about 5, 4 or 5, somewhere there. But anyways, the point that I'm making is at 5,400, additional 5 to 6 minutes, I think he can get you a 42.4 point upside. That's one of the reasons why I like him. And if I do another lineup, I'll probably switch out Milos for Patrick. And the thing about it is, really, I can switch him out right now and put Patrick Beverly in there simply because he's, right there, right at the salary cap, $100 missing. Looks like something that I can work with. And hold on a second here. Let me look at something. Okay, sorry. One of the things that I'm very mindful of is whenever you see these little comment, orange comment boxes, I always tend to read them because sometimes, even if a player doesn't have an issue, sometimes the beat writers will say, hey, unfortunately, this person's not going to start. They're going to rest them or whatever like that. And no other news will come out on it. And that's the last thing you want is a player that you want to start that doesn't start, and you're out of some fantasy points there, at least, 20 or some odd fantasy points. And then you have to, depend on the rest of your team to really produce something for you. If you wanted to, let's say, get off of DeAndre Jordan again, I would say you can go, if you were to not do DeAndre Jordan, you can go with Enes Kanter. I like Kanter a lot. His point per dollar is really good. And you could replace McDermott with Gallinari, right? And that will still leave you some salary to work around and maybe try to fit in Russell Westbrook, okay? So, of course, you probably have to remove Kyle Lowry. Let's remove DeAndre. Let's put Westbrook in. Let's put Kanter. Oh, let's see. Oh, not McDermott. Instead of Paul George, we could do Gallinari. Yeah. And you'll be left with 1,000 there. So, that's just something for you guys to play around with. Again, if you're looking for guys that's more like along the lines of point per dollar, I will go with Lou Williams, DeAndre Jordan. Definitely lock those guys in. Okay. Julius Randle. I like Kyle Kuzma over Julius Randle tonight, to be honest with you guys. I wouldn't necessarily go with Andre Robertson too much. He's 4,300, 20 points. That's not really, he has the upside, but with Paul George and Carmelo Anthony being there, I don't think he's going to get the burn that he deserves. Even though the projections say, hey, 25 fantasy points with Tim Hardaway, I feel like at 5,500, he'll be able to exceed that. Norman Powell is a good pivot off of DeRozan. He should be highly low owned, and Norman Powell has at least a 35 to 40 point upside, especially if he has a hot hand. I wouldn't go with Robin Lopez. He's slow as a turtle. So yeah, those are some of the plays. Well, really, I just gave y'all a couple of lineups to work with here, but the point that I was trying to make is these are guys that I feel strongly about. My core tonight is definitely going to be the Clippers stack. against Los Angeles. They do give up a lot of points to every single respective position, even though they seem to be very razzle-dazzle for the season. So in any case, guys, hope you have a great day today. I hope that this helps you some. Again, please look at DFS Army. They have a Slack channel where, matter of fact, let me go to the Slack channel. DFS Army. Here real quick. When you join the Army, by the way, and it's very inexpensive, okay? My link is down below. And when you join the Army, guys, what I will say is this. These guys are here to help you win, okay? Don't be afraid when you join. Don't be afraid to go in there and ask for help in, constructing your lineups, on how to use their lineup optimizer. They have it for NFL. They have it for MLB. They have it for golf. They have it for NASCAR. They have it for basketball, in which we're talking about right now. This thing is taking forever to load, so we're just going to go back a little bit. Okay, get that out of the way. And also with the Nerd, also a great website to go to just to look at stats, just to see where the matchups are. Maybe look and see where the value may be. So, for example, right now, even though it says $, I know the difference. For your value, Patrick Beverley is going to be Patrick Beverley and Kyle Lowry are your two guys that you want to have in the point guard position. If you want to pivot away from Russell Westbrook, okay. It's still loading. Good Lord. Anyways, so okay, teasing. There we go. I just want to show you guys. This particular Slack channel that they have is very active. People are asking a lot of questions about different players. They have articles that you can go to. Let's see here. I would say you definitely want to follow up on that have helped me personally in how to roster my lineups from cash to GPP. Have been let's see, A. Walsh and where's my other guy here? Chapadon. But the guys that you want to focus on for GPPs will be Alvarez, Free Squares, and DFS and Donuts, Facts and Feelings for NBA DFS. Those two guys, they're really good with their information. Okay. And no, I'm not going to go into the articles because you need to be a paying member, and I want to respect I want to respect this team of people that actually helped me win. So if you want to sign up, get that extra knowledge and get some additional plays to help you build some winning lineups, come join the Army. If you want to use other optimizers and other pieces of information, use Daily Fantasy Nerd. All their functions are really good. A lot of, I won some money using the Nerd, and I always use the Nerd for reference for certain statistical, for certain stats. I'm sorry. And I also look at it just to kind of have more of a visual. Now, the one thing that the Army is going to be working on that's going to be really dope is the NBA Research Station. I don't think they have that ready yet. I think they're going to start doing that next week. But it's going to be somewhat similar to what they have with the NFL Research Station. And I'll go ahead and go to that real quick. And this is a shameless plug. Join the Army. Join Daily Fantasy Nerd. Of course, I feel like you'll get more of a value by joining the Army because you have coaches there that you can talk to in the Slack channel that can help you win and, help you stay away from bad plays and, really have an experience. In any case, for some reason, this thing is not loading up properly. Maybe I have too many tabs open. But while this is loading up, oh, here we go. So This is what the research station looks like for NFL. Let's see here. So for basketball, of course, it could be different because it's not football. But just want to show you that, guys. Nonetheless, you know, there's people in here right now just chatting about basketball. You know, plugging in lineups to say, hey, you know, giving advice, things of that nature. And guys, I think that's gonna be it for me. You know, if y'all have any questions, man, shoot me a DM at DFS5050, or if you see one of my posts on Instagram, you know, just shoot a comment. Let me know what you think. Thank y'all for tuning in. Sorry for the additional lag and on the bitter end, but everything at the top end was what you needed to hear about. Anyway, join the army, join the nerd. Have a great day. Peace.